Atiq-uz-Zaman and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I've got a special guest for you, and before that I would like to introduce his services for the country and for the county as well. He's been a multiple champion in men's cricket, especially as a head coach for Sussex County Cricket Club, as well as working for England Lions. But the main achievement he had a couple of years ago, winning the World Cup with the England women team. He's a well-known name, not just only in England, but all over the world as well. So please welcome Mark Robinson. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hello. Very good. Yes, very good. Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure to have you. I've been waiting for bringing you for the last few days. In fact, last few weeks, to be honest. It's very hard to get hold of you. So thank you for coming and giving me your precious time. Mark, we're all suffering at the minute with this COVID-19, and I ask same question to everyone. How you getting on with those kind of things, but how you keeping well as a coach in those hard movement?
Initially it was hard because I was doing a lot of consultancy, so I was working with a couple of counties and a couple of the associate countries, England Deaf team actually, which was really good fun, mentoring some coaches as well, and then obviously the shutdown comes and everything just stops, just like that. And my kids are grown up now, so every day was like Thursday, and the weekend never came. So it was hard work. And then there was a relaxing, and we were allowed to coach one-on-one. So I've set up my own stuff and just gone out and coached, and I've loved it because it's been pure. I'm not coaching for a team, and so I'm not dropping people. I'm not picking people. I'm not releasing people from contracts. It's just been purely trying to get them better, and so in that sense I've had a great time. Hard work, as you know, one-on-one coaching, but I've had a really good time, and I've coached people from the age of 55 right down to 11-year-olds. I've had a really broad spectrum, and it's been nice to say back on the proper shop floor, coaching purely to try and get people better.
So what's your plan now? What's your next assignment? Have you got any, or you just enjoying your work?
I was taking some time out to explore and to look at things, because I've been a head coach for 9 consecutive years with Sussex and then 4 with the England women. So I was ready, although I didn't know it, I was probably ready for a break. And the variety of what I was doing as a consultant, I was really enjoying it. Obviously wanting to get back in, but hopefully waiting for the right job, which nothing's really changed, except I've got to be patient, because obviously I need international cricket to get going again. I need domestic cricket around the world to get going again, for jobs to open up and opportunities to come. So just at the moment, a case of being patient, like a lot of people is, waiting and watching, for cricket and the virus to hopefully allow things to get back to normal.
There was a rumor going on, Mark, once you resigned from England women's cricket, then you might be taking Pakistan women's coaching role. Was that any true?
Probably Wasim mentioned that, and I would have done. Mark Coles was doing a job, so I'm quite friendly with Mark Coles, who was a current coach for Pakistani women, and I thought he'd done a great job. And I actually was saying I'd love to come and help him and spend go to a couple of their camps and just help. And I've never been to Pakistan, and I'd love to have gone and had the opportunity, different experience. And then Mark, for family reasons, left the job, and Wasim asked me if I'd step in temporarily, and it was probably just at the wrong time. I was just relatively finished with the girls. I didn't really want a full-time job at that point in women's cricket. As I say, if it was now or a few months later, it would have been a bit different. It was just a bit too early. So, and I said to her, I'd love to help Wasim in the same way I wanted to, but they were looking for somebody permanent at that point. So it didn't quite work out. Just the timing. But yeah, as I say, my time with the girls was fantastic. So, to be able to work back in women's cricket or men's cricket, I'm open to the right challenge with the right opportunity.
I think it's a bad luck for Pakistan Cricket Board and Pakistan ladies, to be honest, because they're suffering without a coach quite a while. And to be honest, it's the job advertisement is going to come soon, and I'm hoping you will be trying to get into that, and maybe you are the right person for Pakistan cricket team as well, because they are very talented. You've seen them. I was talking to Sanamir the other day, and Sanamir was saying that we suffer. The reason for us not to perform on consistent basis is we having coaches change all the time. All the time they have different coaches. The girls are confused. They cannot open up with the new coach all the time.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
Well, you do. You need continuity, and you need the coach to, whoever that coach is, to be able to try and create a good relationship with his players, so you hopefully bring out the best. And so we played Pakistan in 2016 when I literally just took over, and we hammered them to a degree, but then I watched them develop. And sometimes if Mark Coles comes in and he gets them a bit more organised, gives them a bit more belief, and then you suddenly watch a team start to transform. As you said, they've got some talent. Every team's got talent, but if you give it some players a bit of structure and a bit of belief, and every team then has got a chance. And they beat South Africa, West Indies, etc., and it's really started to progress. But I fear that the fear now for all of the winning teams, isn't it, with the exception of England and Australia, is with what's happening, there'll be no cricket for them because budgets have just become tighter. And what we hope won't happen is that the powers that be don't put on women's games. We need Pakistan, New Zealand, India, all these other countries to keep their teams progressing. And the best way of progressing is having lots of cricket.
I'll tell you one story, Mark. I'm not sure you're aware of it. When you were coaching for Sussex, I actually played for the second 11 when Mark Davies was a coach. So
yeah, good man. How did you go?
I batted number 8. I scored 65, 63 in both innings. Yeah,
brilliant.
I was actually looking for a county contract. I was hunting for a county contract that time because I was newly a British citizen that time. So, but I think my age and plus my test status just came in my way, because if you're signing a test cricketer, you got to pay some sort of a wage scale, and it was quite high at that time. So I think
yeah, definitely there was penalties, and we were technically only allowed to play 3 non-qualified players, including your overseas. Otherwise, you got hit by heavy regulations from the ECB. So anything like that was always quite hard. But yeah, what year was that then?
It was 2008, I think. 2008. Yes, 2008.
Wow. Yeah, the legend that was Mushtaq Khan had just coming to his end at that point. His knees.
Yeah, he actually got me that trial.
Yeah, his knees would just be slightly going there at that point.
Yeah, I think captain was the guy Hopkinson. He was the captain that time. It was a good game at Beckenham, to be honest, against Kent.
Good. So at Sussex it was amazing. So we had Richard Halsall, who went on to be the England fielding coach. He was one of our coaches. Barney Douglas, who was our media man. So he used to do Sussex TV when nobody had ever heard of counties having their own channel. So he developed Sussex TV, and now he went on to work for the ECB, and he just did the film The Edge, which has just been out, the documentary. And obviously Peter Moores went on to England Academy, then England first team as such. Cal Hopkinson's the fielding coach at England, and John Lewis is the bowling coach. So we managed to get a few coaches through, which I know I learned by being. I think you learn better as a coach by being a lot amongst and working alongside other coaches, don't you?
Yeah,
so one of my passions is to develop other coaches and try and get experience and feedback into other coaches. When sometimes we're our worst when we work in isolation, aren't we? We're our best when we work alongside people.
Mark, I wanted to know about your coaching skills, just to get my learning, and obviously, the other coaches who was listening to us or who will listen to us in future. What is your coaching philosophy?
I suppose, in a nutshell, it's about the player. My philosophy is to try and get to know the player the best way I can, to try and know what his drivers are, what his passions are, what his insecurities are, and to try and get in a situation where I can then create the best relationship and the best environment for him to prosper as an individual. So that's probably in a nutshell. I believe in treating all the players the same, and by doing that, I'll treat them all differently, because they'll all have the different needs and wants. And that was an interesting one with the girls, especially. They had this big thing about fairness, and their view of fairness sometimes was everybody having to do the same thing. And I was saying, well, because you're not all the same. Some Sarah Taylor needs that. Have a night, you need the other. You all shouldn't be having to do the same thing. That's not fairness. Fairness is me treating you as an individual and giving you a bit of an allowance when you need an allowance and a bit of a kick maybe when you need a kick, but you all have it and get it at different times.
Is coaching art or science, or a mixture of both?
Good question, isn't it? It's probably a mixture of both, isn't it? But it's I think what coaching is, coaching's a vocation, like nursing, teaching. You've got to love it. And that's what I'm saying. What's the last 2 months, what I've done is just coach. And I think you have to love it. You've got to be prepared to be the first one there in the morning and the last one to leave. You don't mind. And your passion and your joy is watching players get better. And yes, you want to win games and tournaments, of course you do. But the pure coaching is about players getting better. And there's different types of coaching that we all do. And when you're in charge of a team, you're sometimes doing team management and coaching the team as well as the individuals. When I was at Sussex, the longer that went on, the more I got dragged away from hands-on coaching, because I was having to do the budget, the agents, contracts, all the things that take you away from that one-on-one relationship, which is not good. So, and then if you're an academy coach, you're more about the development, getting players through. If you're the second team coach, it's about that transition from academy to second team and then second team to first team. So although we're all coaches, we sometimes use different skills and wear different hats at different times.
How do you build the greatness in the team? I think greatness is very important. How do you build them?
Again, you've got to understand what the culture of that team is, or that club. And then you've got to tap into that. So if I did ever go to coach Pakistan, men or women, you've got to understand what makes that group tick. What is the culture? There's no point in me trying to do it exactly the same as I did it in the women or Sussex. Or I've got to understand the culture of the team, and also that individual group. And then you've got to tap into them. You've got to tap into what drives them. And you've got to try and get a common cause and a common identity that they will all work and go behind and hopefully go forward with. And then you've got a chance of getting a great team. Look, and to be great, look, you as a coach, you're only ever as good as your players. So, there's certain teams it's hard to fail with. When I was in 2006, 2007, when we had Mushy getting 100 wickets every year, we weren't going to get relegated. It was about whether we could win and get over the line, because Lancashire had Muir-Lithram, Surrey had Sackling, Shane Warne was at Hampshire. So that all three of us are 4 counter great spin bowlers, but you're not going to get relegated. It was just whether Murray Goodwin, Chris Adams would score you enough runs, whether Kirtley could use the new ball, etc. So if I was one of the other teams in that era with no Shane Warne, Mushtaq or Muir-Lithram, I've got every chance of being relegated, no matter how good a coach I am. And sometimes we judge greatness of a coach by just the trophies. That's why I know Mark Coles did a good job at Pakistan. He didn't win anything, but he got a bunch of girls to get some belief in, and they started to produce some performances that was above and beyond what they've done before, and that's progress. And that's a coach working really, really well.
Do you think like player can coach be out of form? Have you ever been out of form?
I think like players, you're in form and out of form, yeah. And I think sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we can get stale. I think when I'm at my worst, I fixate on the little things. When I'm at my best, I'm a big picture person. I'm a creative person. I'm a people's person. When I'm at my worst, I'm fixated on detail, and I'm probably isolating myself a little bit. So we definitely can And that's where you as a staff come in. You want your rest of your staff to help you out and sometimes take on the strain or give you a bit of a nudge in the ribs. And you want the players to keep you honest as well and to challenge back and ask you. But yeah, we can definitely. It's like the same as players, or you're trying to recognise what might make you get out of form. You know, is it your home life? Is it, you know, you're a bit full. You've got too much on. Can you give away some duties to somebody else to get yourself back into form?
So how do you deal, you know, sometimes because of 4-day cricket, I've experienced myself in Pakistan first class cricket for more than 5 years now as a head coach. And I felt sometimes very stressful when I go to the hotel or home if I'm playing local game. I try to switch off, but I can never switch off. How would you tell other coaches to switch off? Is it switch off a good thing or bad thing?
Well, it's a good thing. It's a blooming hard thing to do, and I don't think you ever master it. Look, reading's good for me. I know if it's going badly and stressful, I know reading helps. I know, again, as a sociable person, going out, not sticking in my room, helps me. Going out for tea with somebody or seeing other people. Seeing sometimes people away from the bubble, your own bubble, is good, healthy for me. You're always on duty as a coach because you get your phone goes, doesn't it? You know, it's 9 o'clock at night. The phone goes, the player's got a problem, or the physio wants to speak to you because somebody's injured or ill, etc. So you do take it home, but I think you have to find as an individual your things that help you switch off or not think about it. As I say, for me, when I was in bed, I used to read to try and get my mind to switch off. So as I say, to going out, watching crap TV, whatever. You've got to find your things, your ways of not switching off. Just like we've got to coach yourself like you'd coach a player. You've got to coach a player how to live a life and switch off. Be present when you're with your children or with your family.
You remember we met first time in Loughborough, and the Air Force guy came in there and he gave us a little bit talk about, you know, the debriefing. I don't think you would agree for one of the debriefing thing. He said, do a debriefing straight away. And you said, I remember that you said that in cricket we don't do that because it depends on the situation. You know, if we had a field for a whole 90 overs, how people want to listen to me that time. What's your thought on that, Mark?
Well, I still believe everything's about context, and you want people to be able to listen and understand. And when everybody's emotional, they're less likely to. The beauty of international cricket, which I found when I left Sussex, was you had space between games, so you could pick your good moments to debrief properly. And what was really important, that from my point of view, that I was actually seeing that when I was going to speak, I was seeing it as correctly as I could. Because sometimes we watch a game and we're emotional, especially as it's on a roller coaster, and we think we've done. The amount of times I thought we'd have bowled really well. Watch you back and crikey, got a bit lucky there. Well, actually, I thought we bowled badly, and I watch you back and I think actually we weren't that bad. So the beauty of watching a game back and giving yourself a chance to ask a couple of questions is vital, and then you can give the correct feedback. What I didn't agree with, what was fascinating with the RAF one. At one point, they were always telling us to debrief straight away, and when they had a major incident, everybody's all in the course, wasn't it? There was a big incident, the plane went down. And everybody was saying, no, don't say anything, wait till the morning. So I'm thinking, well, that's a bit of a double standard. 1 minute you're saying debrief, and there was a major event. Well, us losing a game is a major event. So I believe, anyway, long shot, I think if you can, hot debriefs are okay. When I was at Sussex, sometimes you'd have no choice because you're playing a 40-over game the next day. You're just finishing a championship game, so you had to put it to bed. But if you've got chance, I think to take time and make sure you are as factually correct as you can is always good.
Tell me a little bit more about your pathway as a coach, Mark. How did you get into the coaching, and what level you've gone through, and now you are on that level where people recognize your services and appreciate you, and what kind of hurdles you faced in your life as a coach?
Well, I come from a teaching background, so my mother and my sister are both teachers. Or my mother was a teacher, my sister's a teacher, so I would have been a teacher. And as I say, so I love working with people, young people. My mum always also drilled into me, what ifs? What if you get sacked? What if you don't make it? What's your fallback? So I took all my coaching badges really early. I took my rugby badge, my hockey badge, because I thought if I get released by Yorkshire or Northampton or whatever club I was at least I've got a chance of getting a job at a private school. And in the winters, I used to always work jobs. I had a couple of winters abroad. Worked a couple of jobs as a jeweller at H. Samuels, and I worked in a sports shop. And then I started to coach in the winters. I had my own school. So I suppose I've always coached. And it was the same when I was head coach. So when I was a senior player, I used to coach and help out as much as I could, take younger players on the side. When I was a head coach at Sussex, I used to finish practice. I'd go in, I'd be clearing up. I'd go in the indoor school, and Murray Goodwin would be there with a young batter. Or I'd walk to the nets, and Mushback would be with Will Deere or one of the young bowlers. So they were natural coaches because they just wanted to give and work. And I think I was the same. I just wanted to help and share wisdom. So I stopped. The second team job came up at Sussex, the assistant role, when I was still playing. So I decided to retire. I spoke to Peter Moores, would there be an opportunity to be doing that? He said yes. So I retired and took over that role. In terms of hurdles, the hurdles sometimes is you're not a celebrity coach. You know, I didn't play international men's cricket. But sometimes the powers that be maybe might feel, you know, you've got to play test match cricket, you've got to have done this. I've managed to prove a few people not wrong, but actually cricket's a funny sport, isn't it? Because in football, Arsene Wenger, Mourinho, a lot of the top managers were never the best players. And in cricket, it still seems like you have to be one of the best players to be perceived to be able to do a job. And it's the only sport probably that still thinks like that. But I did 2 England Lions trips, as you said, and they went really well. So that was good for my confidence as well, and my own self-esteem and my own self-belief and my self-confidence that despite not playing international cricket, the methods that I use can work and everything. So, but I was blessed because I worked with Pete Moores, and I watched and worked with him. And then again, I was blessed because I had good players when I got my first real proper break doing the first team at Sussex. I had a great captain in Chris Adams, and then let's say Mushtaq Ahmed and Murray Goodwin. So I was blessed I had good players, and that no matter how good you are, that helps you. When they had the England women, it was different. I was a senior guy, and they were very inexperienced. Charlotte Edwards retired, relatively bunch of babies, who I was trying to help grow and everything. So that was a different job. Sussex, established team, established captain. It was about me moulding and trying to take them another little bit on and just shaping them a little bit. With the England women, it was a little bit of a fresh slate, and you're trying to grow a new team with new beliefs and new values, completely different roles.
Which one you enjoyed more, coaching for men's or women?
Both the same. Both the same. No, they're just different. They are completely different, but very similar at the same time. One of the challenges we had with the girls was, in some ways, it was like doing a young team. When you've got a young team, you know, you're trying to let them grow and make mistakes. But we were live on TV, live on Sky in World Cups and things like that. So at times you had to give some proper direction. And we used to, myself and the assistant, Alastair Maiden, was a fantastic coach in his own right. We used to have these, are we saying too much? Are we giving too much direction? I remember me and Ali went to see Peter Moores, and we told him we sometimes fear we're giving too much, and you know, just to try and make sure we're trying to get that balance right. So that was a challenge there, trying to grow a team without giving too much direction, but equally knowing that we needed to win enough games to keep progressing as a team. So that was a challenge. And then in the men's game, you got different challenges. Men's egos get in the way. Sometimes men don't want to listen as much. Sometimes their behaviour, you know, they want to have a drink or whatever, can get in the way. So you're just managing different things at different times. But I've loved every job I've done. England Lions to the the girls to I did England under 19 tour, did a World Cup with the England 19s to the time at Sussex. In some ways, the second team job is a brilliant job. When you're second team coach, because you're this pivotal guy between the academy and the first team. The painful bit, as you know, when you're the head coach, I think you carry those results, you carry those defeats quite heavily. I think the only person who feels the pain the same is the captain. But even the captain, if they've got 80 or 100 and have lost, they've still got that personal satisfaction. When you're a head coach, you don't care who gets the runs of the wicket as long as you're getting over the line. So I do think you take a defeat very, not personally, but it can hurt you.
So, when you went to the second team for Sussex, your first assignment, so I'm sure you have to build some kind of the high performance programs for Sussex second 11. So what was your main pillars?
Main pillars. I don't think I thought like that at that time. I don't think I'd even think like that now. I think first of all, if you're in an academy role or a second team role, you've got to understand what the boss wants. What does the boss want? What's the ethos in the first team? So, my job when I was at Sussex, I used to go support the first team on match days when there wasn't a second team game, and then obviously run my own team. So whatever the mood of the first team, if it was we're having a real big push on, if the first team was having a real big push on playing spin, coming down the wicket, sweeping, I'd say that my job was to make sure that theme went underneath. So ideally, when the second team players went up, we were in tune with what was happening. Likewise, my job was to go to the academy sometimes and make sure that mood and spread. So you've got yourself as an individual, but you're trying to join up, as I say, you're trying to join up with what's happening above you. What are the big pushes? What are the needs? If there was a big spot in English cricket when it was about playing the short ball. Again, you're trying to get your players underneath as a second team coach, aware and ready of that, but not equally become where they get gun shy because they've just had too much of it. So I'm not sure if that answers the question or not.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. My last question is what would you advise to the upcoming coaches? Obviously, I'm an admirer of you. I want to learn something from you. And I'm still in the learning process. I believe coaching never ends. You always learn every day. What will be your advice for the young coaches or the coaches who are working towards elite coaching?
Well, I think coaching is like players. You've got to have belief in yourself. And I know sometimes, no matter how good you are, you can lack a bit of belief. So that's really a normal thing. I think we're best when we don't work in isolation. So I know they don't do this now. New South Wales, this was years ago, used to have a thing where if you were only allowed to do 2 years in development, and if you had a development role, do it for 2 years, and you had to do a performance role, where it's more about results. If you had a performance role, then you had to go and do development. If all you do is ever development, sometimes you get wrapped up in technique. And so when I was I remember going on the England Lions tour, and I loved Kevin Shine. I used to work really well with Kevin Shine, but we used to have good arguments, me and Kevin, because I'd be going to him, "You don't get anybody out, Kev," and he'd be going to me, "Patience, Robbo, patience." So I'd be good for Kevin because I'd be challenging him and saying, "Look, there's no point doing this, this, and this," because Kevin's main job really was ultimately development. As England fast bowling coach, and I'm saying, "But Kevin, don't get anybody out. You've got to get results. You've got to take wickets." So I'd be challenging Kevin that way. Equally, Kevin would be challenging me, beat me back by patience. And that's when it really works well, when there's enough conflict, enough clashes. So you mustn't work in isolation. You've got to, if you're heavily in development, get yourself around performance as well at times. Go shadow, ask to be involved. If you're all the time in performance, making sure you're working in development as well. You understand, and there is a bit need for patience. And understand what is happening. So that would be the biggest thing, I think. To give any advice, it would be that. I think I would try and coach out of the areas that you normally coach. And if you coach women all the time, get around some men. If you coach men, it's brilliant. Yeah, I was just saying, when I was at Sussex, or as well as England women, we used to let coaches in. Somebody would get in touch with us. I coach Essex women. I was at Sussex. I'm a development coach from New Zealand or whatever, we'd say, yeah, come and spend some days with us. It's fine. Come and shadow, throw some balls, get stuck in. And that's how you learn. Try not to coach in isolation. So last winter, as I say, I went around lots of counties. I went and talked to lots of directors of cricket because I wanted to learn again.
No, definitely. My bad luck. I would say my bad luck because when I was coach for Lancashire last year, I was thinking next year I'm going to ask you to let me in and do some hours with you and learn something from you.
Yeah, well, you should do. You should go ask, Lisa Catley, you should do. I'm sure they'll have you. And if they're not, it'd be shame on them because it's our job and our duty to develop coaches at all levels and everything because we're better for it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Definitely. How did you find your Eccleston?
Tough girl, but I didn't have much time to spend with her because she was there for 2 or 3 games only, but I found Kate Cross was the hardest one to deal with. Yeah, Kate Cross was the hardest one to deal with, but they were nice. To be honest,
emotional from an emotional point of view.
Yes, I think because they've got a different kind of coach for last 2 seasons before they have me. They were very relaxed. They think they can do what. They've got a different strategy. The coach had different understanding about the cricket, and I came with a different background, so it was a little bit hard. Sometimes we had a little bit of misunderstanding, but overall it was very good experience. I think the girls enjoyed it. I had a good feedback from Steve Tichard, and the girls was pretty happy. I was looking forward to involve this year, but unfortunately I didn't get a job.
Oh, shame.
Yeah,
and that's coaching you. Young Sophie, she's out unbelievable bowler, best spin bowler in the world.
Yeah.
But you're coaching her while she's maturing. We took her on as a 16, 17-year-old, and she's just maturing. So you're taking her through all this change she's going as a person, never mind as a cricketer. And sometimes, you get little tantrums, don't you, as you do with any young people. And that's our challenge as coaches, to understand that and to what we should stand up to and what we should allow, and that's why it's never an exact science. It sometimes is an art, which we sometimes get wrong as well as right.
Yeah, I think a coach need to have enough time with them so they can understand the coach and coach can understand more. I had very limited time. It was very hard because there is no preparation time. They were always in Loughborough. You never allowed them to come in.
Well, they did. The camps used to be Tuesday till Thursday. So that's right. And the good ones. Camps were Tuesday to Thursday, and the girls were different again to the boys. You're having to manage their time a little bit for them because they hadn't really, and they got a lot better at being able to manage themselves by the nature of the girls. They just say yes, say yes to everything. The next minute, it was when we took over. There was one girl, and she was always knackered on the second day or the first day. She always turned up knackered. And I found out she was coaching at Bristol till 9 o'clock at night and then travelling down to Loughborough, getting there about midnight. And the next day, we were starting at 8 or whatever, and she was cream crackered. So, and I said, why are you doing that? She said, well, I think I should. And I said, well, let me be the bad guy. She didn't want to do it. Let me say, no, you're not allowed because, this is your job now. You're going to be fresh and everything else. So. And then, as they are now, they get better and better at managing their time, as we know.
Yeah, I wish them all the best, to be honest. This year, hopefully, the county structure has gone better. A lot of professionalism came in there. There are semi-professional players now, so hopefully they can spend more time on cricket. I found it very hard because the difference between England players and non-England players was massive. It was massive. We had 1 or 2 good players. I forgot her name. The top of the batsmen who were in academy.
Emma Lamb and
another one.
Yeah, cool. What's the name called? Yeah.
She came from Notts. Mark, thank you very much for your precious time, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll meet again one day. I'll definitely try to come round, or wherever you coach in. I'll pop. I'll just flick an email. Viewers, this was one of the best coaches I really admire with Mark Robinson, and I hope you liked. that conversation. If you like it, press the like button. And if you have not subscribed my channel, so please subscribe and put the notification button on as well. So thank you very much for now, and I'll see you again. Pakistan Zindabad.